Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Weird Wednesday from your friends at baloneybrain.com. We are here. I'm enjoying the frigid weather, and my partner or co-host, Daryl House, or Suburban Hobo, I'm guessing it's probably a lot warmer where you're at.
Well, you know what? I think they're predicting some high 60s.
Oh, stop it.
I mean, it's cold down here.
Well, we're actually going to break 50 degrees in a couple days, and I'm excited about that.
Like a heat wave.
We're having a heat wave.
Hey, well, I got some fun stories today. I ran in the door. My daughter and her husband bought a new house. I've been painting all day. I barely got the paint off, and I sit down at the computer to find a couple of stories here for Weird Wednesday. First thing I get is a man in the Philippines who died after accidentally shooting his penis off.
Oh.
While tucking the gun into his waistband. How many movies have you seen that, 37-year-old Geronimo Narcisco had been boozing with friends in the Philippines when he pulled out his homemade .22 caliber firearm and let off a few shots in the air. After, while restoring his weapon in his trousers after his frightened friends begged him to, the gun accidentally fired into his crotch. He was rushed to the hospital, pronounced dead on arrival. He was DOA.
Oh.
He was about the sheriff's office, the investigator said he was about to put the gun back in his pants when he actually pulled the trigger and he shot his private part. That's from the police investigator. The victim's family have called for an investigation. As they say, Geronimo didn't own a gun, but police believe there was no foul play involved.
Well, it's not often that we laugh at somebody dying, but I've got one where somebody died as well. Howard Stern had a Get My Grandpa Laid competition. And the winner,
I believe that.
The winner was Johnny Orris, 86. And on Thursday, hours before he was supposed to redeem his prize at the Bunny Ranch, where he was going to make love with not one, but two young ladies of the evening, he choked on a piece of steak.
Oh, my God.
Imagine that, 86, and you're going to have two women and a piece of steak.
And he's gumming that filet mignon. Oh, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I told you I've been listening to the Game of Thrones series on books, and there's this really creepy kid king, and this is like the third book. I'm about 60 hours into this now. There's 3 books so far, and they're all about 35 discs each, which was a little over an hour. So I'm about 60 hours of this. At his wedding, he choked on a pigeon that flew out of a pie. Crazy stuff. So, speaking of wildlife, and this has a Florida touch, wouldn't you know it? Florida wildlife officials say a man tried to trade a live alligator for beer at a Miami convenience store. There's just no respect for life anymore in this world. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission spokesman Jorge Pino says the man received a citation for illegally capturing and trying to sell the gator. Pino told WTVJ-TV that the man trapped the 4-foot-long gator at a nearby park, brought it to the store December 10th. When he proposed to trade the animal for a 12-pack, the store clerk called authorities. Pino said the gator was in pretty good shape. The animal was released back into the wild.
I see. I'd have made the trade. If you bring a live alligator here to the Old Crow Bar, I think we can do something.
Would it just be Corona?
Well, in Oklahoma, a semi-naked, disoriented man was found wandering through an icy, remote section of Oklahoma. He'd started off on a 26-mile walk to see a woman, of course. And on the way, he got lost, fell through an ice-covered pond, and so he took off his clothes, so he only had boxer shorts on. But this was the part that I thought you would find appealing. He survived the freezing temperatures that night by sleeping in a guitar case.
Like maybe a double bass case, but a guitar case?
No, like an acoustic guitar case. He
Is he an elf?
he somehow kind of got himself in, but anyway, when he awoke, a local person heard him yelling, "Please don't let me die." And so the guy called authorities, and he was taken to a hospital, treated, and released. So he did pretty well after sleeping the night in a guitar case.
Well, you know what? I spent a night naked in the snow. I know where he's coming from. Of course, mine was filled with the Black Russians. We had that conversation recently.
Yeah.
So, okay, 'tis the season. The holidays are here, and many of our people who come and watch Weird Wednesday know that I play the Jolly Fat Man at several locations around South Florida. So this I found to be particularly disturbing. A vicar. You know, do we have vicars in America? Or are they only in England?
I don't know.
He's a vicious vicar. A vicar has been forced to apologize after claiming at a primary school assembly that Father Christmas does not exist and proceeding to recount the gruesome story of St. Nicholas. Have you ever heard the story of St. Nicholas?
I don't believe I have.
I was ignorant of this also. Well, Reverend Simon Tatton Brown infuriated parents of youngsters at Charter Primary by questioning the existence of Santa. He told children that Father Christmas was based on a grisly tale, a legend about St. Nicholas who brought 3 murdered children back to life. This gets worse. The Church of England vicar described how the youngsters were killed by an evil butcher, placed in a barrel to be pickled and sold as ham. Parents complained when their children aged between 5 and 11 came home shell-shocked, and the vicar of St. Andrew's Church in Chippenham, Wilts, has now apologized.
Ugh.
Can you imagine telling a child that Santa had something to do with a butcher and putting kids in a barrel to be pickled and sold as ham?
That's awful.
Spiral slice, man. I can make exceptions.
But you know, I've got a holiday story too.
Honey baked.
Sarah Childs of somewhere in Louisiana, Denham Springs, Louisiana.
Yeah.
For her Christmas lights display, she put it's a hand. She's on the roof of her house. It's somebody flipping the bird, basically. She is the middle finger of a hand in Christmas lights. And this is the second year she's done it. She apparently doesn't like the neighbors. And last year it went all the way to the courts, and the ACLU managed to get her the right to flip off her neighbors with brightly colored lights. And I had a picture of this, but I found out it was copyrighted, so I couldn't use it. But I was like, wow, that is so bah humbug.
Yeah, it really is. Well, listen, yesterday I was doing one of my Santa gigs, and a guy came up, and I'm sorry to throw another story here to throw our whole pacing off, but a guy comes up to me and says, I got kind of a weird request for a picture with you. And I said, there are no weird requests. I'm the happy guy all the time. He says, well, this might get you. He says, I want to take a picture looking like you're trying to punch me. And I said, no. I said, Santa doesn't do violence, he doesn't do alcohol, and he doesn't do guns.
Is it an odd request or a creepy request?
And you know, he was like a punk-looking guy in there. I said, this is for kids, you dumbass.
Yeah, wise guy. He was probably a wise guy.
Really?
You know?
So listen, folks, it's Weird Wednesday. This is where you find the weirdest news on the net. So, John, have a good... Is next Wednesday Christmas? I think it is.
It is, and I was thinking we need to do a best of next week.
Would that be better placed the week of New Year's?
Well, I figured New Year's we want to be looking forward.
Okay, I like that. It's a plan.
All right.
It's a weird plan, but I'm all for it. Listen, man, have a great week. Everybody, thanks for stopping and seeing us here at baloneybrain.com. We love you, man. Bye.
Talk to you soon.